Hello everyone. So now we will solve the next version of the problem, which is determination of heat transfer rate in a composite cylinder arrangement. So as per the problem statement, there is this one steel pipe for which we have been given the internal diameter. There is some external diameter of the pipe and also it has been insulated, because of which there is also one more diameter because of the thickness of insulation. So in total, this pipe will have the first internal radius R1, then there will be second external radius of the pipe, which will be indicated by R2, and then there will be the third radius of the pipe, which will be indicated by R3. As we know, the length of the pipe which has been mentioned is unity. So we are calculating the solution for per meter length of the pipe. We can indicate it like this. So that is 1 meter. L is equal to 1 meter for this steam pipe. Through this internal side of the pipe, steam is flowing and the external surface is exposed to the ambient air. So that's why there will be this T infinity 1, as well as there is one internal heat transfer coefficient. There will be the external fluid temperature T infinity 2, as well as there will be the heat transfer coefficient on the outside. So, as per the problem statement, the values which are given, these are known to us. We will properly now sort them down so that we can represent everything appropriately. So, the ambient fluid temperature, it is 25 degree Celsius. The heat transfer coefficient on the outside is 11.5 watt per meter square Kelvin. And R1. Now we will have to properly organize these units so that they become uniform. There is the thermal conductivity of the pipe, which is given, which is 45 watt per meter Kelvin. You can write it here or you can write it separately, that is your choice. So this is K1, I will call it. I will simply, what I will do, I will simply indicate the pipe with the help of this hatching symbol so that you don't get confused with the presence of the pipe and presence of insulation. Okay, so this is the pipe that we are talking about, and then there is the second conductivity, which is 1.1 watt per meter Kelvin, and it is nothing but conductivity of insulation. Now we also have this T infinity 1, which is the temperature of the steam. So that is T infinity 1, which is equal to 200 degree Celsius, and heat transfer coefficient on the inside, we should call it, this will be actually heat transfer coefficient on the outside. So let us write it like this. So on the inside, the heat transfer coefficient is very high because the steam temperature itself is very high, and it is equal to 4650 watt per meter square Kelvin or watt per meter square degree Celsius. Remember, the units are equivalent, they are not different. So now, then we will deal about the dimensions of the pipe. Length of the pipe is already 1 meter. Now the radii. So first one is the radius, but we have not been given this radius correctly. We have been given the diameter of the pipe. So internal diameter of the pipe is 5 centimeter. So because of that, its radius R1 is 2.5 centimeter. But we always convert our dimensions into meter. So that's why we will divide this by 100. So what we get is R1 is equal to 0.025 meter. That's our first dimension. Remember, we have still not started the solution of the problem. We are just organizing the given data, nothing more than that. Then the external diameter of the pipe has been given to us, which is 6.5 centimeter. So D2 is equal to 6.5 centimeter, and it is equal to 3.25 centimeter when we are calculating the radius, which is the external radius of the pipe. So we convert it into meter. So what we get, R2 is equal to 0.0325 meter. So that's R2. Okay, now after that, the external radius R3, outermost radius R3, it has not been given, but the thickness of insulation, which means this much part of insulation is given to us. And remember, thickness is added only in radius. if you add it in diameter, you will have to multiply it by 2. So that's why if I want the external radius R3, it will be equal to R2 plus thickness of insulation. R2 is already known to us. The thickness of insulation is 2.75 centimeter. So R2 is 3.25 centimeter. Just for the sake of simplicity, we are doing this, plus 2.75 centimeter. So 3 and 2 5, and this becomes 1 centimeter. So this is equal to 6 centimeter. That is equal to R3. We have to convert it into meter. So it gives you 0.06 meter. That is equal to R3. So now we have all the necessary dimensions. We have all the necessary given data. In this way you have to sort out the data so that whenever you are solving the problem, you can pick up the quantities immediately. Now we will proceed towards the solution of the problem. So let us begin with the solution of the problem. Now since the system is a complicated system, so we will follow the approach of electrical analogy. So for that purpose, we will draw the thermal network. So let us see how do we draw the thermal network. We will start from the left hand side, which is T infinity 1. Then the first interface temperature that you will observe, it will be at this point and it will be equal to T1. Then second interface temperature between the external diameter of the pipe and internal diameter of insulation, this will be temperature T2. Outermost surface temperature will be T3, and then there will be fluid temperature T infinity 2. So that's why step by step we can go. It is not necessary that everything should come down the line itself. I can start from anywhere. So my first point here will be T infinity 1. There will be first resistance. Then there will be T1. Between T1 and T2 there will be second resistance. Yes, now T2 is there. Between T2 and T3 there will be third resistance. So between T2 and T3 there is this third resistance, and between T3 and T infinity 2 there will be the fourth resistance. So this is T infinity 2. Okay, now we have understood the thermal network. Now we will identify the physics and then we will convert that physics into mathematics. So what do we get? Here convection is happening because heat transfer coefficient is there. In this case conductivity is there, it means conduction is happening. This is again a solid material, again conduction, and again heat transfer by convection, that's why convective resistance. So we will designate these points. This will be RC1. Now between T1 and T2 this will be R, but now this is a conduction resistance, but this is not a conduction resistance of wall. This is a conduction resistance of a cylinder. So that's why this will be R cylinder 1, and then this is again a cylindrical insulation. So that's why this will be R cylinder 2, and finally again convection resistance. So simply independent of geometry, that will be RC2. Now our job is to determine the individual thermal resistance. Why? Because we know that if we want heat transfer, we can simply generically write it in the most basic form. We can write it like this. It is simply delta T divided by summation of all thermal resistances which are coming for that particular path. If I consider the path between T infinity 1 and T infinity 2, then I need to consider all the resistances. Why I am using this formula? Because on the inside I cannot apply Newton's law of cooling. On the outside also. Why? Because I only know T infinity 1 and T infinity 2. I do not know the heat transfer rate, and that's why I have to utilize this approach. So let us see what to do with this summation of RTH. Now this summation of RTH for this entire span of temperatures is summation of all these thermal resistances. Alright, so now let us start evaluating. Here summation of RTH, or I should write like this. This is nothing but delta T divided by first convection resistance, first cylinder resistance, and then second cylinder resistance, and then second convection resistance. Now I will determine each and every quantity. So let us see how to do it. RC1 is convection. So RC1, because it is convection, so it will be simply 1 upon HA. But now this is not a plain wall. The dimensions or the parameters change over here. So we have already understood that in case of cylinder, the most important thing that we need to understand is area of a cylinder at any cross section is a function of radius. It always changes with radius. So if we are calculating RC1, which is internal convection resistance, so that's why this heat transfer coefficient will also be internal heat transfer coefficient, and area to be considered, area of the cylinder to be considered will be internal surface area. So it will be 1 upon HI into AI. So let us see. So it will be equal to 1 upon HI multiplied by this AI is nothing but internal surface area and not the cross sectional area. So it will be equal to 2 pi R1L, because R1 is the innermost radius. So now we have all the parameters, we have the mathematics. Now we will substitute the values. So what do we get? So it is equal to 1 upon HI, which has been given to us 4650 watt per meter square Kelvin. So this is 4650 multiplied by 2 pi multiplied by R1. R1 is known to us 0.025 meter. So that is 0.025 and length is anyways 1 meter. So that is our RC1. Let us calculate that. You people should also calculate that in your calculator. The unit will be Kelvin per watt. When you solve it on the calculator, you get the value 1.37 into 10 raised to minus 3 Kelvin per watt. So that's your first convective thermal resistance. So the first quantity is calculated. Now we will move with the conduction resistance of cylinder. How do we calculate that? We know that the cylindrical heat transfer is nothing but 2 pi Lk delta T upon ln of R2 by R1. This we have already known from Fourier's law application. So now if we keep only delta T in the numerator, everything else in the denominator, so what we get is ln of R2 by R1 upon this 2 pi Lk term will go down upon 2 pi Lk. So this entire parameter inside the bracket is nothing but the conduction resistance of cylinder. So that's why this is the formula that we need to use. So let us now calculate the resistance or conduction resistance of the cylinder. So what we get? So R cylinder for first cylinder, it is equal to ln of, always remember when we write down R2 by R1, we are actually writing down outer radius divided by internal radius. So this will be R2 by R1 upon 2 pi Lk, and this K will be for that cylindrical material. So the first cylindrical material is that of pipe, so this will be K1. So then we can write ln of R2, which is known to us 0.0325 meter, divided by R1, which is known to us 0.025 meter, divided by 2 by 1, and K for the material is 45. So we get 45 over here. So ultimately what we get, R cylinder 1 is equal to, when you calculate it, unit will be same, Kelvin per watt. So R cylinder 2 is 9.27 into 10 raised to minus 4 Kelvin per watt. So what we see here, the unit of convective resistance and conductive resistance will be same. Now the next parameter that we will calculate will be the conduction resistance of the second cylinder, which is created because of insulation. So we will calculate that. So in this case, what we observe, the cylinder second, its thermal resistance will be ln of external radius divided by internal radius. So external radius is R3, which is 0.06 meter, divided by the internal radius. Actually for this cylinder, internal radius is R2. So R2, which is known to us, it is 0.0325 divided by 2 pi. L will be same, and okay, my mistake, I forgot to write down the formula. I directly substituted the value. So this will be ln of R3 by R2 divided by 2 pi L K2. This K is nothing but conductivity of the insulation. So this K2 is 1.1. So we have written the formula, we have substituted the values. So the answer that you get is 0.0887 Kelvin per watt. This is your conduction resistance for the second cylinder. Okay, then we will move on to the convection resistance, which is on the outside. Let us call it T infinity 2 and H2 on the outside, HO on the outside. So for RC2, basic formula is HA, but this is outer radius, that's why HO, and outer surface area, that's why AO. So this will be equal to 1 upon HO, and outer surface area 2 pi RL, but only R will be the external radius. External radius here is R3, so that's why this will be 2 pi R3, which is known to us 0.06, and length is 1. So it gives you RC2 is equal to, when you calculate it, again unit will be Kelvin per watt or degree Celsius per watt, and RC2 is 0.2306 Kelvin per watt. So now we have finished with the first stage of the answer. The next stage is that we need to calculate the summation of thermal resistances. So we will simply add all of them. When we add all these thermal resistances, we add the first thermal resistance, the second thermal resistance, the third thermal resistance, and the fourth thermal resistance. What we get is the total thermal resistances for this entire network. So what we get is 0.3216 Kelvin per watt. So that is our total thermal resistance. Now why did we calculate that? Why it was necessary to calculate this? Because our heat transfer rate, total heat transfer rate from the pipe, it is equal to total delta T divided by total summation of thermal resistances. So I am considering T infinity 1 to T infinity 2. So that's why this will be 200, or I should simply write this will be T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2 divided by summation of all the thermal resistances in that particular network path. So T infinity 1 minus T infinity 2, so it gives you 200 minus 25 divided by 0.3216. 0.3216. So this is 175 divided by 0.3216. So total heat transfer through the pipe at steady state comes out to be 544.16 watt. 544.16 watt. You can also write it as watt per meter because length of the pipe is 1 meter. So that is your first answer of this major problem. Then the second aspect is that we also need to find out the interface temperatures. We can use the same physics now. Now we know that through every section at steady state, from our physical understanding, same heat is flowing through the every section. So we can use this value to determine individual temperatures when we are considering the individual section. So let us see. The logic that we are applying over here is very simple. हमें जितना पैसेज कंसिडर करना है, हमें जो टेम्परेचर के साथ डील करना है, उतना छोटा पैसेज कंसिडर करके हम उसका थर्मल रेजिस्टेंस काउंट करेंगे. On the basis of that, we can calculate the temperature. So this Q is going to remain same at every section. So Q is equal to, first I should target this section T infinity 1 minus T1. Why? Because it helps me to consider only one thermal resistance, which is RC1. So this is equal to T infinity 1 minus T1 upon RC1. So this Q left hand side, now we will substitute the values. 544.16 which you just calculated, T infinity 1 it is 200 known to you, minus T1 is the unknown quantity and RC1 is the known quantity, which is 1.37 into 10 raised to minus 3. Now I will take this quantity on the other side of the equality sign. I will multiply 544 by that magnitude. So what I get is 0.7414. 0.7454, my mistake. It is equal to 200 minus T1. So I take now, because T1 is negative, I take T1 on this side and I take 0.7454 on that side. So 200 minus 0.7454. So the answer that I get is T1 is equal to 199.25 degree Celsius. So this is my first interface temperature that I have obtained. In the same fashion, I can also obtain my second interface temperature. For second interface temperature, I am going to consider T1, T2, and in between this path, the only thermal resistance present is R cylinder 1. So it gives me, for the second temperature, Q is equal to T1 minus T2 upon R cylinder 1. Q is known to me, yes, 544.16. It is equal to T1, just now I have calculated, so that is 199.25 minus T2 upon R cylinder 1. This I have already calculated and it is equal to 9.27 into 10 raised to minus 4. And when I do the manipulation, when I do the calculation, I get the value of T2 as, T2 will be equal to 198.74. This you have to do by your calculator as well. Now we can use the same logic to determine T3 as well, using the same philosophy of electrical analogy. So what do we see here? For T3, we can either utilize T2 minus T3 upon R cylinder 2, or we can utilize T3 minus T infinity 2 upon RC2. By any method you can solve it, and you can also verify your answer. So what do I get? Q is equal to T2 minus T3 upon R cylinder 2, considering this part of the network, or it is also equal to T3 minus T infinity 2 divided by the second convection resistance, which is RC2. So I will do it by this method. You can verify your answer using this approach. So Q is known to me. So 544.16, it is equal to T2, which I have calculated, 198.74 minus T3, not known to us, divided by the second conduction resistance of cylinder, which is 0.0887. When I perform the calculation, I get the value of T3. So T3 comes out to be 150.47 degree Celsius. You will observe that there is not much difference between the temperature of the steam, which is 200, and the temperature of internal side of the pipe, which is 199.25, which is because steam is directly contacting the internal radius of the pipe. On the other hand, there is also not much difference between T1 and T2. Why? Because conductivity of this pipe is good, but then you have applied insulation, so because of which is having very low conductivity, and that's why there is difference between T2 and T3. So application of insulation helps you to reduce the heat transfer rate. Now you have T3, you have calculated T1, you have calculated T2, and also you have calculated T3. All the interface temperatures are calculated. Now we will calculate the overall heat transfer coefficient. The simplest logic of overall heat transfer coefficient is that whenever you provide heat, it can be simply written as UA delta T, where U is the overall heat transfer coefficient. And actually we also know that heat transfer can also be written as delta T upon summation of thermal resistances. So by correlating these two, see, this is the common parameter in both the equations. So when I correlate, what I get? This UA is equal to 1 upon summation of thermal resistance. And this U is nothing but overall heat transfer coefficient. So if I want this one, if I want this one, then U will be equal to 1 upon A multiplied by summation of all thermal resistances. So now I can write, if I am interested in overall heat transfer coefficient based on inner surface, then this will become Ui 1 upon, this area will be internal surface area, so this will be equal to 1 upon Ai summation of thermal resistances. I already have this value, which is 2 pi R1L. I have this value summation RTH, which I have already calculated. I can substitute that the value, and you will calculate the answer of Ui to be equal to 19.79 watt per meter square Kelvin. I leave the value substitution to you. You have to substitute the values in the next step and calculate the answer. In the same fashion, I can also calculate the external overall heat transfer coefficient based on external surface. So this equation will be slightly changed. So this will be U0 1 upon A will be as it is, only it will become A0 and summation of thermal resistances as it is. You will substitute the values and you will, okay, I'll show it to you. This will be equal to 2 pi, external radius is R3L into summation of thermal resistances, which is already known to me, which is 0. Okay, I will substitute the values in the next step. So this will be equal to 1 upon 2 pi, R3 is nothing but 6 centimeter, so that is 0.06 meter, this is 1, and this is equal to 0.3216, and that is equal to U0. And what you will calculate is overall heat transfer coefficient based on external surface. It will come out to be 8.248 watt per meter square Kelvin. So now that completes your answer. You will see that because heat transfer rate is same everywhere, on the inside as well as on the outside. That's why in this case internal surface area is less because R1 is less than R3. So if Ai reduces, Ui automatically increases. In this case R3 is large, AO is large. So to keep the heat transfer rate constant, UO has to decrease. So it has decreased. This is 19, almost 20, and this is 8.25. So this is the entire solution for the given problem. Thank you very much.